Good morning. So we have finished up that big deliverability test that we were doing. We learned a lot. We're going to dive into a lot of the data here and really just share you our observations, my thoughts, and most importantly, what we're doing with this data, what we have done to immediately create results, and then what we're continuing to do based on these learnings, because the world of cold email is changing daily at this point, and so it's quite a game to be playing. So let's just hop right in, right? So first thing, if you don't have any idea what test I'm talking about, what we did is we sent over about 50,000 emails over the last 2 weeks for one of our clients, RB2B, using their infrastructure so we could do mass testing. The main thing that we did is we have two different sequencers. We have Smart Lead and we have SaaSmail. SaaSmail is like a private sequencer that we have been using and have developed, and Smart Lead is a sequencer we've been using forever. Okay, and so what we did is we looked those two sequencers. We then took four different infrastructures: Gmail, Scaled Mail, Mailreef, Hypertide, and we had them outbound four different types of inboxes. So we segmented all of this between 28 different campaigns. So that way we could have controls and silos. My thesis was that this was going to be very drastic from bucket to bucket, and it turns out that that's very true. And so here you can see it's pretty average across the board, right? If you look at just a general average, it's like a 2% reply rate, roughly, just under 2%, right? But what we've been finding is that if you go very specialized in certain configurations, you can add multipliers on your deliverability right now. And the other thing is that that's changing quite a bit. So let's so we'll hop into a couple data points. First, a few things though before we do hop in. One, I'm just a single cold email agency. We're sending 3.2 million emails a month, but still, I know guys that do 3 million emails a day, right? And so this is just one perspective. This is a 2-week snapshot. This stuff is changing so much. This is just what we're doing and how we're applying it, right? The second thing on here, if you look at some of the data, it doesn't really, it's not going to affect too much because what I'm about to say is only going to affect positive reply rates, but I did make a mistake and I accidentally changed some copy that we were doing with this test. Instead of using our core copy that has been super dependent, we wanted to experiment with some new copy, and that was a different conversation, and it snuck into our core campaign and then it got duplicated for all of these. And so that new copy got in and it's performed about like 8 times less effective than like our core copy, which sucks, right? The third thing that's even really interesting is actually kind of a good thing, I don't know, is that Scaled Mail, their team accidentally didn't set up our settings with DMARC properly. And so we see like really bad deliverability from them to like Gmail, but that could be just because of DMARC. And then there's obviously a big potential that if DMARC was fixed, these would do even better. And so it's really interesting because there's some of the top winners in some categories. They had a malfunction that I didn't catch. And so that's my bad. And sometimes they did great. So it's going to be really interesting to do another test, right? So yeah, let's just hop right in. So some of the big things, right, is that you'll see on average, you have matches like this, right? But then if we go down to like very specific results at the end, right, if we go by top categories, because the main thing we're looking at, right, is if I'm going to deliver to someone who has Proofpoint, what configuration should I be using? If I'm going to send an email to somebody who's using Gmail, what configuration should I use right now to do that, right? And that was the biggest thing that we were trying to look for. So we were simply just looking at reply rates across the board. And as you can see, I mean, based on your configuration, you can have a variance between 0.13% and 4.53%, which is, it's pretty wild, right? That your results can vary that much simply by configuration. But if you just look on it on aggregate, it's 2%. And so let's hop in a little bit deeper, right? So I'll go to the bottom and show you the winners, right? If you see the long form post, we kind of rank a bunch of other ones, but basically, when we look at if we're trying to target enterprise, then SaaSmail in combination with Gmail did the best. If we want to go after custom ESPs, so these are just people that they aren't Outlook, they aren't Gmail, they're something else basically. Then if we use Smart Lead and Scaled Mail, we would have the best results. And then if we wanted to email people on Google, Mailreef and Google were the best. But what's interesting is that we found that out. We installed that last Friday for a bunch of our clients, and then this week, like 30% of our clients, their Mailreef server burnt within like 2 days. And I think it just has to do with spam complaint rates because Mailreef is high risk, high reward because it's your IP. And all of our good offer clients, like they're just printing this week, where some of our clients, they maybe have, I don't know, the marketplace is saying it's less desirable because they're marketing it as spam and less positive replies and things like that, right? And so, all those Mailreef servers burnt. And so what we are doing yesterday, what we started, in fact, I think we got it done last night, is we moved over all of those to Smart Lead and Gmail for right now, because that's the next best deliverability when it comes to Gmail, right? And then the other thing to note is like, nothing we were doing was delivering to Outlook. So I'm really curious to hear if there's something, a configuration out there that someone else is using that seems to be delivering to Outlook. That would be really, really impressive. And so, couple things, right? So a few different takeaways, right? Is specific configurations matter the most. The second thing is that we're using two sequencers. They performed very close to each other, some better in other areas, but they were basically an aggregate. Like technically SaaSmail beat SmartLead by a very small percentile, but it's not that drastic for me to like make a decision. Except for that, I need to use both of them. And I need to create a system that sits above them to be able to use both of them, right? The other takeaway is that scaled mail and Hypertide are basically the same in a lot of different configurations. So we're probably going to be using both going forward. And then the last thing, once again, this stuff is changing very, very drastically. You'll see things here where, like Google to Google was kind of pittered out. You'll see here it goes down. This goes very up and to the right. This goes very up and to the right. You'll see tons of things that come into play when it goes to these configurations, right? And so, first thing that we did immediately is we used Email Guard. There's a code you can use that the founder told me about, Email Guard 5, and you can get 5% off forever. And we used that to run an enrichment on all of our lists. And we even did a custom API endpoint in Clay to just do it programmatically. And we figured out, okay, who is what type of inbox. Then we moved them based on the highest configurations. That's going to give us results here, right? The second thing is we removed all Outlook leads. We're not going to email them for right now until their reply rates go up. Next is we used SaaSmail to Gmail to target enterprise. We used SmartLead to scaled mail to target SMTP customs. And then we used SaaSmail and Mailreef to target Gmail accounts. And then once again, Mailreef started falling apart just for those particular servers. So for those ones that got burnt, we moved them back over to Gmail on SmartLead, right? What's crazy is that when we did install these changes, right, we had one client that only had 4 leads in 14 days, and we were about to lose them because we're trying to get them 30 leads a month, and they were in their conversion window. And we rolled out these updates, and we got them 10 leads in 4 days. So this stuff is drastically affecting the results of our business right now. And it's just like this stuff just popped up 2-3 weeks ago, where like these configurations are just changing so fast. There's been like little spikes, like every 90 days, there's kind of something big, but like recently it's been getting just way more crazy, right? Like when we started this test, Gmail to Gmail wasn't delivering at all. And then by the end of the test, it somehow becomes like the one that we're actually going to be doing, like the best one. So, so this analytics is going to be massive, right? So what we're doing next, step 1 is that we're immediately unifying our analytics between both of our sequencers in a single spot. 1, so our clients can have a portal. 2, so that way I can have mass analytics on what's going on and I don't need to be doing testing like this all the time. The second phase that we're doing, that I'm working with our operation teams to build, is we're going to create a master inbox that uses both of the sequencers as well. So like a grandmaster inbox. And what that'll do is that'll allow me to get all the like, what's a bounce message, what's a reply, what's a positive, what are out of office messages. And I'll be able to get very specific data. And I'll be able to use Email Guard to enrich that entire database. And in real time, I'll be able to tell who's delivering to who well, who's getting more bounces than others, who's getting more out of offices than others. Like is a list just more out of office this week? We'll be able to have that mass data all in one spot. And then the final thing is, now that we'll have that data in real time, we'll implement a dynamic ESP and sequencer matching. So that way we can do all of those together, right? And so what those are going to look like is that we would have something that sits above, takes all the data in real time, compiles it all together, and then in real time, it'll route our leads based on what the best deliverability is on that given day, based on the last however many days worth of data we decide to go with. So, comment below if this was insightful. If you want full analytics, if you comment, I'll shoot you a DM and I'll shoot you over a full analytics page. You can go over all this kind of stuff and look at the data yourself. I'd be interested if you observe anything differently from me. And then the other thing I'm thinking is that if this does get enough attention, I'm sure this could be valuable to other people, but I don't know yet. It's just a theory. If this does get enough attention, I might genuinely look into creating some sort of system where we can share this real-time data with other people and say, hey, today, here's what's delivering best. And so it just kind of depends on like if this is actually interesting to other people. So if you like it or whatever, comment, if share it to other people if you think it can help them out, whatever it may be. So anyways, hope this serves you well.